Okay, here's an interesting one. If I'm out in public and panicking or don't have access to a safe space, what coping skills could I use?
I can tell you the coping skills we use.
Might be helpful.
So one of the things that has been most effective for us, it's a thing called tapping. And this is like kind of like whispered in the psychology world. But anyway, the idea is that there's specific pressure points on your body that release different chemicals. It's the same kind of line as like acupuncture, right? But right beneath the clavicle, I think, whatever the long straight bone thingies here.
Your collarbones.
For that, if you lightly tap that, it's supposed to help with anxiety. And we have found that when we are like on the verge of a panic attack, if we just kind of like lightly tap there, it helps. It doesn't make it go away, but it's kind of, you know, and that could be a placebo effect. That could also be that we're like stimming and that's calming us down. Like the reason doesn't matter, I guess, but that's kind of our go-to. There's also a point in the middle of your forehead that helps with that, which is kind of like when you're stressed, people like often like rub that like naturally. But when you're walking around in public going like this is a lot more noticeable and going to raise a lot more questions than, you know, just tapping there. We also have like fidget toys that we carry with us, like a fidget cube and spinner and stuff. And that helps ground a little bit too.
I didn't know any of this tapping stuff. Whoa. I might try that and not hit things that are in my immediate vicinity. For me, I haven't done that, obviously. For me, I tend to like, because if you can't do anything out loud and you can't go anywhere, I'll count in my head, like backwards from 10, and I'll keep doing that over and over again. And if that stops working, then I will sing Britney Spears in my head.
Nice.
Because I know the lyrics like off by heart, so it's just sort of reciting it. It's like focusing on something else.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily say you have to sing Britney Spears if you are panicking, but like something you know the words to, but something not sad, because I also know all the words to every Evanescence song, but then if I started doing that, I'll just get sad instead of anxious.
Yeah,
that's not good.
A little counterproductive.
Yeah, so we go with Britney Spears, like oops, I did it again or something. And I don't know, that works for me. It might not work for everyone, but you could always do like, I don't know, recite a poem, you know, or something, or just like focus your brain somewhere else, I guess.
Oh, breathing exercises help us too. Like we'll breathe in, breathe in for 6, breathe out for 8. Because if you take longer to breathe out than to breathe in, that lowers your heart rate. So that helps us also.
Yeah, that is probably always a useful one in any situation, just breathing exercises at any time. This one just says sending in tropical fish love. So I'll pass that on.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
The same person also wants a system update. How is everyone doing?
We're doing phenomenal. Like, we're doing great. We've partnered with a life coach after we left YouTube because there was kind of just like a, what the hell do we do now? And you know, we were in a pretty dark, not dark. We're just gonna say a crappy place. We weren't, there wasn't a lot of like joy for the future. So we partnered with a life coach who's been helping us out. And one of the ideas that she gave us was, we coined it Altar of the Week, right? So this is like, you know how like most elementary schools will do like Student of the Week. And so every week, like a student gets their like picture hung up and they get to like talk about, you know, do like a show and tell type thing. And just to like make sure everybody feels special. So we've been doing that. And so like, obviously, life responsibilities take priority no matter what, but then during our free time, whoever's week it is gets to like choose how to spend that. And it's just like our mental and health has shot through the roof as far as like being good, because like everybody feels taken care of and there's no like loose ends, you know, or like people who don't feel heard in the system. Our like physical energy levels have gone up. We've getting more into hobbies and like investing in like positive, productive things. So like we're doing really well.
Really nice idea, though. I like that because I've wondered, not like actively thought about, but wondered is like how people with DID manage to like, I don't know, make sure that everybody feels like they have some sort of like independence, I guess is the only word I can think of, like that they have a say, since people tend to be out more than others and things like that. So that's actually a really nice idea. Maybe some people watching can do that.
And I know, like, I know that there are going to be comments about this, so I just want to address a concern preemptively, is people being like, well, if like, treat everybody as different, like, isn't that going to, like, spread them further apart and stuff like that? Because we've gotten people talking to us about that. And really, like, when you think about it, we each had our own experiences because of memory blocks and stuff, and we each developed in our own way. And because we share a brain, our emotions bleed together. Like, there's no way to avoid that. So if one of us is really having a hard time, no matter how happy and fulfilled the rest of us are, that's still going to be a part of each of us. So unless we treat everybody individually and meet their needs how they need them to be met, we're going to be unbalanced. Like, we can't function like a unit until we are treated like individuals, which sounds counterproductive, but that's how it worked for us.
Well, if you put all the Power Rangers in the suit and one of them hasn't eaten that day.
Yeah, man, he's not gonna be able to work that left arm, and
then the whole team suffers. Stop
it.
This one's for you as well. What's something new, different, or exciting that you or the system are looking forward to?
Absolutely looking forward to the conference in November, the Entitled to Life conference. I love that it's still happening, and they found Autumn, who's in charge of it, the head of TWA magazine, has found really awesome ways to still have like a special meet and greet type environment, and like ways for like everybody to interact with one another, as if, I mean, obviously it's not the same as being in person, but it's still going to be a very good like community event and like bringing people together and connecting people. And so like, I'm super stoked for that. Also at the end of October, we're moving into a 2-bedroom apartment. So that's going to be really cool. We're going to have a game room for all of our tabletop war games, because that's taking up way too much space in our 1-bedroom. So that's also really exciting.
That's really cool. Well, congratulations on the new apartment. Are they still selling the online tickets? Like, are they going to stop selling those? I don't know. Is that
I think they're still selling them.
Okay. I should like do that. I keep saying I'm going to go buy the online ticket and then I forget for like 3 weeks. So yeah.
Just be anything.
Yeah, I'll do it later today. I'll set a reminder or something, unless I forget to set the reminder. Thoughts on brie and grapes?
I mean, yeah. Good combination. Like brie. More of a Gouda fan, but that isn't grapes as well.
They capitalized brie and grapes, though. So is this a band? Maybe?
I'm a Google.
Please Google. If we're talking about the food, my opinions are that I've never eaten those things at the same time. I like brie. I can eat grapes, but I'm not the biggest fan because they're very sweet. I imagine
grapes. You don't like grapes?
I know. I'm fine with them. They haven't offended me, but like, I don't know. I'm not a big fruit person. I don't know. I don't really like fruit. Like, I'd rather munch on some carrots or something. Those are sweet enough for me.
Yeah, I Googled brie and grapes, and literally it's just coming up with the food, so
not a band.
Nope.
Okay. Well, food-wise, I guess that's fine. That's the answer. You do you and you live your life. Yay. Drama aside, just on content, can I trust what I learned about DID from Dissociated?
I have not watched the full extent of their videos, so I don't feel like I'm qualified to say one way or the other what they put out is like solid or not. So I would never ever try to learn something just from one source, though. Like, this applies to literally everything you would want to learn about. Diversify your sources, because rarely does one person, in the way they're presenting things, present the whole picture. So regardless of any one creator's specific content, you still want to branch out.
If it's something you can't, like, obviously I can't speak on this, but for any sort of like mental illness or something like that, if it's something you can do, because I know not everybody can do this, but if you can try and like take a look at some research papers and things like that,
Absolutely.
then that's always a good thing. Get differing opinions and scientific research, as well as, you know, creators who live with it and stuff like that. So.
And the website didresearch.org, it's did-research.org, has links to tons of studies that are like peer reviewed and stuff. So that's a good resource.
Okay, I might, yeah, I'll link that down in the description. Please, editing me, remember to do that, please. I always say in my videos, I'm going to link these things, and then I forget, and everyone in the comments is like, where are the links? Like, I'm stupid, I'm sorry. There will be links. Ooh, I like this question. If you could make a movie about anything, what would it be?
So we've kind of been developing this like OC, right? And like a story around her of this like otherworldly being, like angel type, but like not angel, because like we don't want to get into the religious crap.
Like ethereal, sort of.
Yeah. Partnered with this like very like hot-headed like justice fighter, and like they both are like it's in this like post-apocalyptic world, and they're both like trying to fight for, you know, their community, but like the one's more like, I'm gonna go punch and then always get yourself hurt, and then the other one, like the angeled one, is like much more like, she's very like strong, but like in a like a I'm gonna care for you and empower you type way, and just them like building up their like little survivor community and stuff. So that'd be cool to make a movie about.
That's really cool, actually. I'd watch that movie. That would be such like a visually pleasing movie, I think.
I hope so. I'd like to think we can put together nice looking things.
You never know, maybe one day it'll happen.
You know, never say never, right?
For me, I actually set this as a life goal for myself recently, that I want to make a horror movie one day. I don't care how low budget it is, I want to do it.
That would be phenomenal, and I would absolutely watch the shit out of it. I don't even care what the plot is, I'm gonna go for it.
I just need to wait and see how life goes, because maybe I'll become a millionaire somehow, and then I can put more money into special effects, because if I can, I would like it to be very like gory. I love like slashers and stuff.
So you're big what's the one where the tree attacks the girl and she turns evil and the ash cuts his hand off and has an axe or a chainsaw? Evil Dead? Evil Dead.
I was going to say, is this the Japanese film, but you're talking about the... Yeah, I've only seen the newer Evil Dead. There's an older one as well, I think.
There is an older one. It is campy as hell, and the newer one really revamped it in a very loyal way. But yeah, just like all the gore and like.
Yeah, love a bit of gore. I would just want to make it, but see, my dream is, because if it's something I'm doing myself and it's like purely indie, then I can make it as surreal and like confusing and not making sense as I want to. I just want things that don't make sense, which is difficult when you want to create things that people like, because I used to like write a lot, and I was working on this novel for ages, and I had some people check it out and they're like, this is really confusing, like this is too metaphorical, this is... I'm like, oh.
English studies would eat that up. They love it when things are confusing, because they can pretend that everything represents Jesus and money, and they're smart because they recognize that.
I can tell you straight up, nothing represented Jesus. I just like to... I don't like to... I think the problem is I don't like to tell people what's happening, because you know when you're reading a book and they're like, and this thing is happening and this is how this world is set. That's fine. Like, that's good for some books. That's not how I like to write. Yeah. So I don't know. So I think if I did a horror movie, it would be I think it would be very visual, and it would be very like, what's happening for everybody else but me, because I would know what's happening.
Nice. I dig it.
Does Entropy ever see coming back to YouTube as an option in the future?
As an option, sure, but I don't know if we want to. Like, enough time has passed that, you know, our channel is kind of like our little legacy, and I don't know if there's much more for us to say on DID that we haven't already said. And so now we feel it's time for us to branch out into other areas of activism. Like right now on our Instagram, we are sharing resources and stuff for the Black Lives Matter movement. We're also touching in on like promoting safety for sex workers and stuff like that. So there's just more areas that we want to affect in a positive way that I don't know if we want to go back to YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think then, just like, I don't know, following up on their question, would you ever consider doing YouTube in a different way? Like, say, maybe using it to talk about activism and things like that. Talk about activism is not how you are supposed to say that sentence, but that's just what came out of my mouth, so we're going with it.
I don't think so. Like, looking back, YouTube was stressful. It was stressful, and as good as it was in a lot of ways in like helping us build a community, because the Entropical Fish community is just divine. Like, we adore them. They're constantly like going out and making the world a better place around them, and like I just love you guys. But so I'm really happy we had that, but there was just so much extra stuff that came with YouTube that I don't want to deal with again. I just don't. So like, I don't think we'd build a second channel. I think, like I said, we've been feeling like very like pulled to the idea of Twitch. If we, you know, down the line, we're thinking if we are able to like make a business out of our art, we've, you know, started digital art. This is like down the path. We'd invest in a better computer and do Twitch like drawing. And then we can also like have conversations about activism stuff and like spread education while we're doing that, but that wouldn't be the central draw. So like we would quite be under the microscope like we would otherwise. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like YouTube. I don't want to go back. I'm done with that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've never been involved with like drama particularly. Like, there was one thing that I nipped in the bud before it became huge, but even like the small amounts of like little bits of drama I've been in, and like hate from people and just people thinking they can scrutinize you for everything, like I can't even imagine it to the level that you guys had it. Like, that's just huge. I don't think I could do it.
We weren't even the, you know, third biggest channel and still felt like we were under a microscope constantly. So yeah. It's completely different on other forms of social media. Like when you're on YouTube, like it is you and people are focused on you and what you do. And, you know, that can be good, but it can also just be hell. So
my brain just decided that the fact that it's called YouTube was funny, which is not.
It fits.
Yeah, I guess it's in the name.